Sanbona ni dumelang abusheni hellos. So in today's episode, I want to chat about what it's like to get down and dirty with a daddy. 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 Fuck me, man. I'm hilarious. So before I actually continue with this episode, I just have one question to ask, the approaches of this world. The initiators of courtship. I genuinely want to ask, why is it that you guys say these V hectic and V awkward things like, I'm gonna marry you, when you first approach someone? And I ask this because I've been approached in this way about 4 times. It is such an awful style of doing things. Like honestly, bo brothers, please, this is not emahlabathini in the year 1857 where you could approach someone like that and actually have it normal or even a social expectation for you to follow through. So when you approach me for the first time in the club, in something like a 2017, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, I'm gonna marry you. What do you expect must happen? Do you really expect me to just fall in love and swoon and envision this long life of us and hugs and kisses and money? Because money is very important, especially in this economy. You can't just be out here falling in love for free. And breakfasts in bed and vacations to France or Mauritius or Duba, whatever your forte is. Like, do you really think that by approaching me in that way, I'm just going to be easily taken, just like that? Well, you're fucking right, because that's exactly what happened in this story that I'm about to tell y'all. And with that being said, story time. So, kwasuka sugela, one very warm day in December 2015. I was at the bar getting another drink at Great Dane, because y'all know I fucks with Great Dane on a spiritual level. And this guy approaches me at the bar. What name should I give him? I can't call him by his real name because he's probably going to sue the fuck out of me. I think I'll call him Ronnie. That's a daddy-ish name. Yeah, Ronnie works. So Ronnie ge loyo. He's just there and he's staring at me and he's making things like hella awkward, because I'm just like, okay, where should I concentrate my eyes on? Like them fixing the drink or him or like. And the barman hands me my drink, which was obviously a Blue Lagoon, because y'all know that I fucks with the Blue Lagoon from Great Dane on a spiritual level. So as I'm about to take out, my last cents, because the economy is bad, he interjects and he's like, no, I've got it. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. So he orders his drink and he gets his drink, he pays for everything, and then he turns to me and he says, I'm gonna marry you, right? Friends, I was taken. I was taken. Him in all his short, stubby, chubby glory, with his Eugene Terreblanche khaki shorts and his Jesus Walks tumbler sandals. I was taken. So we converse in and out, we jive, the day turns into the night, kumnondi, eklobini. We exchange numbers and then we go our separate ways, right? But it was awkward because I didn't hear from him for about 6 days. He didn't call, he didn't text, and obviously I'm not going to be the one to initiate or to run after him to be like, hi Booty, do you still remember who I am? Nah. So after the 6th or 7th day, he texts me and he's like, sorry, I haven't been responding to your calls, been in and out of work, but may I interest you in lunch? So I was like, yeah, cool. I can deal with lunch. So we go out, we have lunch, and I think low-key he used the lunch as an opportunity to flex his financial muscles, you know what I mean? We went to this restaurant I had never heard of, I had never seen. I don't even think you can find it on Google Maps. Like, you get there, it had this underground private booth with its own DJ and its own what do we call barmen? Mixologists, etc., and the cutlery had like his name inscribed on it. It was fancy. It really was. So the lunch was cool, it was cute. I dug his vibe, he dug mine, and we agreed to see more of each other. And I actually remember the very next time we saw each other, he was having like a brunch mimosa type of situation with some of his mates, and he invited me over. And that mimosa brunch situation was also cool. He had a beautiful, beautiful 3-story apartment. It was like animal skins and art, and his fridge was only filled with champagne and sparkling water for some reason. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, you could tell, we would see this guy, okay, urish. From that point onwards, however, there was a series of red alarms that were set in my consciousness, right? So throughout the duration of our relationship or interaction, which spanned about a year, Ronnie dearest kept insisting that we keep our interaction casual, keep it at a non-serious level, but, you know, we were exclusive. So the more we were chilling, the more I noticed he would invest trust in me, right? And display trust and affection in a series of awkward ways that would not be particularly normal in a situation where you guys are just casually chilling. So it would start off with him coming home from work and then calling me or FaceTiming me because iPhone lifestyle. And, you know, he would talk about what was going on at work and things like that. And I just, of course he was sharing, right, as people do in a relationship, but he was sharing in the sense, like, he was mentioning names and, you know, the strategies he was working on and all of those things. And I thought to myself, well, these are the kinds of conversations you have with, you know, a partner that you're serious about. Like, but I didn't perceive it at the time as abnormal. I just thought, okay, this is how he interacts. Okay, sure, great, no problem. So it went from that to me, for example, going over to his place, and we would talk about, and you see, Ronnie had this really, really weird thing where he would ask me questions like, what's your dream holiday? What's your dream car? What's your dream home? What's your dream engagement or wedding ring? And because we are just chilling, in my mind, you know, I would say, you know, my dream house is A, B, and C, my dream ring is A, B, and C, etc., etc. I would respond genuinely. And then it got to a point where we would like run errands together, which was weird for me because when we first started seeing each other, he was very territorial about his space and very territorial about who knew about us, who didn't, where and how we interacted, etc., etc. So to move on from that level of protection to us now being out here at Woolworths together. Then one day he invites me over to his place because we were going to travel together to go have a lunch. And I arrive at his place and I noticed that he was coming out of his apartment. So I'm just like, what's going on? And he shows up at my window and he's like, listen, I'm sorry I didn't call, but something literally just came up right now. I have to go tend to it urgently at work. Maximum, I'll be 30-40 minutes. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll chill, you know, kind of thing. I can't go back to where I came from now, kind of thing. He was like, yeah, no, cool, chill. So I'm walking around the house, making myself comfortable, pour myself a mimosa, you know what I mean? And the phone rings, the house phone rings. So now I'm panicking because I'm just like, should I answer? Should I not? You know, I don't want to overstep any boundaries, etc., etc. So I don't answer it. Then the phone rings a second time, but I choose still not to answer it. Then it rings for the third time. Now I'm panicking double, triple, quadruple because I'm just like, oh my God, this is weird. What should I do? Should I answer it? Should I not? It's probably SARS calling because you owe them money. It's probably your drug dealers looking for you to move some stuff. I'm panicking, but I still choose not to answer it, right? So after the phone rings the third time, I text him and I'm like, hey, Ronnie, dearest, the phone has been ringing. I don't know whether or not I should answer it or not. Tell me what to do. And he's like, no, answer it. Anyway, there is a package that I'm expecting to be delivered there anyway, so answer it. Then the phone rings for the fourth time and I answer it. So I'm like, hello. And I swear it was the voice of a girl who was probably not older than 12, 13 years old on the other side of the line. The young girl was like, hello, who is this? So now I'm getting in my feelings. I'm ready to fight someone because I'm just like, hold on, you called this line to ask who is this? And then I was like, whoa, little, back down. This is not your phone. This is not your house. This girl has every right to ask, who dis? So I was like, okay, this is a tense situation, but Lilo, calm down, just flip the script, be the best investigative journalist that you can be. Time to put on your Deborah Patter boots now, you know? So after this girl asks me who I am, I was like, can I ask, who are you looking for and what is your name? And poor girl Shem, she fell into the trap. She told me who she was, but then she was like, I am looking for my daddy. Let me tell you, sweetheart, I was about to while out. 5-2 whiling out. And then I was like, no, Lilo, keep calm, keep it professional. You're still on the job here. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm the plumber. I've come to fix a pipe in your dad's house. He's not here at the moment, but let me take down your details, you know, and I will let him know that you called. So Ronnie comes home after 30 minutes. He finds me sitting on the lone couch, legs crossed, attitude stank. I'm on my cookie line. I'm not trying to hear a shit, but I'm trying to hear a shit, but I'm not trying to hear a shit. So he comes in a rush because obviously we have somewhere to go, and I'm just chilling there, and he doesn't even notice. So he grabs his whatever he needs to grab, and he's headed for the door, and he notices that I'm still chilling on the couch. So he turns around and he's like, what's up? And I'm like,
your daughter called.
And he's like, you know, he's shook. And he's like, my what? And I was like,
your daughter called.
And there he is gasping for air, and I'm getting irritated because I'm just like, I need an explanation. So we sit down, we have a conversation, and you know, he does tell me that he has children, which definitely left me shook, Avery. But we resolved it, but not in the way that I would have liked it. I think at that point in time, I was still too passive to really say what was on my mind and to really get to the heart of what our relationship was about and what it was potentially turning into. And I think me not going that far in the conversation created this impression in his mind that everything in our relationship was going according to plan and that we could just carry on like normal. So one day, maybe like 2.5-ish months later, and yo guys, this day, guys, I swear, I was on my ring the alarm. I've been through this too long, but I'd be damned if you try fuck up my life. So we're having dinner casually, nothing special is going on, and he puts a box on the table. But it wasn't like a normal engagement ring sized box. It was actually a pretty big square box, and it was written Browns on it, and I was like, oh my god. And he's like, here you go, gift from me to you, please open it. And I open it, and it didn't hit me at the time, but it was actually the ring that I had told him just in our casual conversations about what my dream engagement ring was, etc, etc. So that ring was there, but around it was a chain. So I'm taking it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is so nice of you. And I take I take the ring and I put it on the chain, and you know, I wear it as a necklace, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, thank you. And he's like, the ring belongs on your finger. So I was like, oh, okay. So I take the chain off, take the ring off, and I'm putting it on, you know, different fingers on my hand, and the only one on which it fitted on was this one. Backstory, let me just rewind a bit. Ronnie also had this thing, he had a thing for rings like I do. And there's one particular ring of his that fits on this hand, on this finger, exactly, and it doesn't fit on any of my other fingers except for this one. What I had told him when he asked me what my, you know, dream engagement or wedding ring was, and then took that particular ring that could only fit on this finger and had it made, I guess. So I'm trying to put this ring on all the different fingers, and naturally it only fits on this one. So I'm like, okay, but I still don't think anything of it. Oh my god. Then he's like to me, is that a yes? And I'm like, a yes to do what? And he's like, no, is that a yes? Are you agreeing to marry me? So first time I laugh, because I'm just like, really? Do you really think I'm gonna marry you? Like, lol. And then I see like he starts to tense up in the face, and I'm like, whoa, hold up. Are you serious? So now I'm whiling, I'm going through him, I'm chowing him, I'm on some So then I'm done whiling, which was like maybe an entire 7-minute episode. And he's just there with his head in his hands, not saying anything. So I'm like, hello, hi, are you going to respond to my message? Don't blue tick me, this is not the time. And he just continues to keep quiet. So I'm like, this is actually disrespectful. So I decided to grab my things and leave. So I'm walking towards the door and this guy, lol, this guy chucks a plate, not at me, but he aims it for my feet. So I turn back and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then he starts whiling and he's on some, you know, you really were the one. I saw you as the one. You are going to be the person that I raised this family with. You complete me. You are the person that I was going to marry. You are going to be the person in my will. You are going to inherit my shit. And I'm standing there because I'm just like, whoa, this guy literally constructed an entire life for himself without consulting me and thought that I was going to collude by agreeing to marry him. Lol. So he's whiling and he's whiling and he's whiling and I'm just like, no, dude, absolutely not. You will not take advantage of me like this. And I'm just like, you know what? It's really time for me to go now, so goodbye. And I left. And I didn't speak to him ever again. So my relationship with Ronnie Dearest is actually still to this day one of the most important relationships I regard having ever had, because it taught me a lot about sharing a space with another human being and observing, interacting, respecting the way another person is wired and respecting the way I am wired and how that kind of like works together, right? So the first thing my relationship with Ronnie Dearest taught me is really essentially the power of honest communication, right? So in my mind, I thought that there was a level of honesty, there was a level of openness, and we could talk about pretty much anything and everything that needed to be discussed for the sake of the preservation of the relationship and the way that the relationship was set up, right? The agreement was that we were casual. Yes, we were exclusive, but we were casual. We were not serious, right? Ganti, homeboy was catching feelings on feelings on feelings on feelings and started to build a world that I guess in his mind he's always deserved and always wanted to have, right? Ronnie's case was, it was interesting and like borderline sad for me, but I say borderline because nigga threw dishes at me. His situation was one of those, you want to ask for what you want, but you don't actually ask for what you want because you A, believe you don't deserve it, or C, whatever you've got right now is the best that you can do, and so you settle. Ronnie's way of settling was to establish the whole casual thing, right? And I get the impression that I'm not the first one or the first person he has done this with. And when I say done this with, I mean establishing a casual basis for a kind of a romantic interaction, right? The whole casual rhetoric is his way of keeping himself safe, but also at the same time, him keeping himself safe is really him imprisoning or trapping himself. But then the dangers of that is that he went beyond the safety net that he had created for himself and started to, in very covert ways, building or imagining this life that he's always actually wanted. So Ronnie wants the family, he wants the children, he wants the lifetime partner, he wants the big house, he wants vacations, he wants my name in his will, he wants all of that. And it's okay to want all of that. It's just that I was the wrong person to want those things with. And because we didn't communicate honestly, he didn't put me in a position, and I didn't put myself in a position to make a safe space to have that conversation. And I've noticed this with a lot of moneyed older men that interact with you know, young cats. You know, money's like a buffer. You know, when I throw money in your face as an old moneyed person, I expect a reaction of some kind from you. And I think because I didn't react to his money the way that previous people have reacted to his money, he thought, oh, this is a person of value. This is a person that I could potentially build a life with. The second lesson that my relationship with Ronnie taught me well, there was an interesting power dynamic at play, right? So I think it bothered Ronnie that I didn't latch onto him or seem to need him the way that I guess he was used to being needed. So for example, his money or his lifestyle didn't sway me at all. His big job or his fancy titles or his hectic schedule didn't sway me at all. The only thing that I was concerned about was that him and I, in the space that we had created, were good. I actually recall him continuously saying, you know, like, you're really amazing for like this young person. You know, you got your own thing going on. You blog, you vlog, you write, you do all of these things, and it's refreshing to see. And for him, that was a praise point, but it made him feel uneasy. So you also got this thing where the very thing about a person that attracts you to them is also the very thing that in a way threatens you. Whatever me saying no to proposal did to him, it definitely was a demonstration that he didn't have the final say. The third lesson that I learned with Ronnie, and this is really my most important lesson that I take away from this, is that, I mean, this guy was what, 12, 13 years older than me, 33, 34, somewhere there. There are certain things in his life, certain joys, traumas, responsibilities, etc., that make him who he is, right? I didn't see him as a man who was ready for that marriage life, who was ready for stability, who was ready for that kind of life, right? I saw him as a man who couldn't get his shit together and therefore started like messing around with younger boys just to pass time. That's really how I saw him, honest to God. And it was an unfair way to view him, because I think that contributed to me not being able to see him for the person he was trying to manifest in reality, right? There were certain heats and judgments that I had about him that make me not take him seriously at the time. Now, with that being said, I'm not justifying him throwing fucking dishes at me, but what I am saying is that there was an opportunity on both our ends to really be honest about who we were to each other, what we were to each other, and what we truly and genuinely intended to be to each other and for one another. And because he was caught up in his own shit, I was caught up in my own shit, we missed each other. And I guess on that very profound note, that brings me to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and share. If you did not like this episode, I don't care. Like, subscribe, and share. Mwah. Bye.